right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Mike's Mysteries, second episode of the podcast with me, Michael Vargas, and Travs here. His name is going to be Travs for the podcast. That's right. All right. So we got a bunch of interesting subjects to talk about. So there's going to be plenty to talk about. You ended up sending me a couple links yesterday, right, Travs?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so we got a video on some alien sightings in Nevada, Las Vegas, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. There's always something going on out there. So that's going to be pretty interesting to talk about.
That's Vegas for you.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. So I'm pulling up the documents right now. I'm going to go ahead and screen share. Give me a quick second here.
They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes. Like I can explain it. And big
Oh
mouth.
my gosh. So
They're
this
tiny
is
eyes
live
and
audio
they're not human. They're
of
100%
somebody
not
that
human.
claims to have seen one of the alien creatures.
Okay. Isn't that the creepiest alien you guys have ever seen? I don't know about
I'm
you, but
not
if I
able to hear
spotted that thing in
anything.
my
Can you
backyard, I'd
adjust
be
the sound for
freaking
me?
out.
Oh,
It's
yep.
like
Give me a
something out
quick
of a
second.
nightmare. I was
All right, should
listening
be
to a
working now.
podcast earlier where
There
they
you
were
go.
interviewing Angel, the guy from the videos, and he said that they can stand anywhere from 8 to 12 feet tall. He also mentioned
8 to
that they
12
left some
feet. So
footprints in the ground.
these are big
He said these
motherfuckers, dude.
footprints span over
These are the
16
tall ones,
inches
big
long.
man. 8 to
These
12
things
feet.
are massive. What's even more unsettling
She
is
said,
its
man.
attentiveness. You can see it analyzing every noise and every whisper, staying on high alert at all times. And the way it carries itself, it's like a natural born predator. And did you notice how the hair on its back stood straight up when it
Probably
was
is
startled?
Predator.
Now, here's where things get really eerie. Remember that video that was posted a few days ago that pointed out the figure that is lurking behind the fence? As Angel and his family walk through the archway, you can clearly see some sort of being moving around on the other side, observing them.
Yeah, this looks
kind
a
of
little bit
watching them,
sketchy, right? This
completely
one isn't too
undetected.
believable.
Okay,
But I was
so I want you to
watching
pay
that
attention to
other
what I
footage that
believe
you
is the
sent me
creepiest part of this
prior, which
The
video.
one
was
that was moving
And
around, yeah.
yeah, and
I've
it
seen
was
this video
showing
too.
the police investigating everybody. So let's go and take a look at this one. This one's pretty cool.
Yeah, the story about the other video is that apparently
There's like
after
an
the
8 foot
incident had
person
happened, the
beside
neighbors
it,
decided to put up
and another one's inside, and it has
a
big
camera
eyes and looking
system,
at
and they
us.
discovered that hiding in their backyard 3 days later.
Okay, where is this on
Oh
your
my
property?
gosh. Yeah, something like that happened in
In my
Brazil in the
backyard.
80s. I don't know if you heard that whole
I swear to God,
controversy,
this is
but
not a
there's
joke.
like a
This is actually
whole
real.
city in
This is
Brazil,
private.
dude.
So there's two people
Well, let's
or
let's
two
let's
subjects
finish
that
this
are in
before
your
we
backyard?
open another can of
Yeah.
worms. But
Correct, and they're
yeah,
very
this
large.
police is investigating right now. This
They're like
just
8 foot,
happened about a week or two
9 feet,
ago.
10 foot. I
It
don't know.
is currently June
They look
30th,
like aliens to us.
2023. And yep,
Big
there's a
eyes. They have
big
big eyes.
big
Like,
fuss about
like
it.
I can explain it. And big mouth.
This guy
They're
says
shiny
big eyes
and
and big mouth, shiny eyes.
and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay, a potential UFO investigation was sparked from this emergency 911 call
my
in Las
goodness,
Vegas
man.
on April 30th. A family claims something crashed in their backyard. The video coming out just this week, they claim they saw non-human, it's the way it was described, beings walking around, and whatever it was, it looked right at them, they say. The officers who went to the
Dude,
home
imagine
also
that, dude.
reported seeing a
Staring
flashing
into the
sign
eyes
know.
of something like
significant
that, dude.
right before this
Oh man,
911
that
call
would give
came
me the
in.
heebie-jeebies,
Here's a
man.
look at police
My
body
brother
camera
and
video
sister once
from that night.
encountered something strange too, like this.
This
That
might
was
sound
years
like
ago.
a really dumb question,
Oh, how did that
but
go,
did you
man?
guys see anything fall out of the sky?
They were laying down in the
normally
front
discount
yard
as
on the
nothing.
grass during broad daylight, just staring at the clouds, and all of a sudden, this huge black blob just starts hovering over them. And they freaked out so much that they ran inside screaming and telling everybody about it.
Oh my gosh, dude. You know, a lot
This
of
was back in the
people,
2000s.
yeah, a lot of people claimed, well, the military claims that a lot of UFO sightings were because of private military aircraft that hasn't been exposed to the public yet, and one of them being that stealth bomber, right? That used to be like
Yeah,
a
a guy
confidential
who knows
project.
all about that stuff.
Yeah, you should bring him on the podcast one day, dude. But yeah, that stealth bomber, apparently there was a lot of UFO sightings that were tied to, the stealth bombers because they were so confidential, nobody knew about them. And just the way they look, you know what I mean? It literally looks like a freaking UFO or spaceship, dude, flying through. And how loud it is,
Yeah,
dude, it must be terrifying not knowing what that is and seeing it for the first time.
yeah, I know a guy who knows a lot about that stuff from the inside, and he shows me a lot of the the images and stuff of these special aircraft
Uh-huh.
that they're used for military purposes. They're just being used, for flight tests and stuff. And when the public sees them, they automatically assume they're aliens.
I would too, man. It's hard not to, right? It's an unseen spacecraft. It's new technology going faster than other things have, you know what I mean, achieved. It's a crazy thing to see for the first time. You've seen stealth bombers, right? You've seen them in real life.
Yeah, I've seen them in real life like twice.
Yeah, they go over the Rose Bowl parade. That's
They're
where I seen
called
them.
B-2 Spirit Bombers.
Oh, that's the official name. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
them at the Rose Bowl parade. They'll send one off at the very beginning. They didn't do it
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year
I've
for some
seen
odd
it there.
reason, but they did it a couple years ago, the year before that. So that's a pretty cool sight, dude. It's insanely loud, dude. It's like way up there too. And you're like, what's making all that noise? Is it that? And you just see it hovering through the sky right there, dude. It's insane, dude. Insane. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and finish off this
However,
video. So this police officer is questioning a
seeing
bunch of
as one of my
people.
partners
Apparently, he got a
said they
bunch
saw
of
it too.
reports about aliens and
Okay, News
tall
Nation
beings
correspondent
walking
Nancy
through at
Liu
night
has
in the
more
middle
on
of
this.
Nevada, dude,
Nancy,
Las
I got to
Vegas.
tell you, the guy just sounded so calm to me. That's what I like. He didn't even sound excited, and he was basically saying he saw an alien. What do you make of it?
Elsewhere in the call, though, he
How are you
truly
supposed to act?
sounds scared and
Yeah.
anxious. And also the police body cam, you hear the bewilderment and a little bit of fear in the voices of the officers. So it's hard to know what to believe, but we should tell you that there was a follow-up a few days later with the police going to the home of that family, and the family reported seeing government-looking vehicles in the neighborhood. They also reported
Oh, they know
seeing
what's up, dude. Those
men in
neighbors.
suits and dark glasses. So we don't know if that's popular culture weaving into a hoax, or if there really is this covert retrieval program that Dave Grush alleges exists in our government.
Yeah, certainly sounds like a scene from a movie
What
when
do
you
you
talk
think of
about
that
the
last part,
sunglasses and the
dude? The Men in
suits. But
Black
there
showing
was
up.
video. I mean, there was body camera
That could be
video,
real.
and then they released clearer video. The police did, and there was clearly something in the sky. We know you'll stay on it, Nancy. Thanks for being with us tonight. Okay.
Thank you for watching. Go to
Yeah, so this
newsnationnownow.com
was
to
in
find
Las
News
Vegas
Nation on
2
your
weeks ago.
television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
There's a video I'm trying to find. I think they may have removed it. But the kid who made the phone call to the police posted a whole 5-minute long video on YouTube.
There are so many conspiracy
telling us
theorists.
everything that happened, everything that he saw. And that video is now gone. And he was
which
warning
you
that
said,
the
of
video
course,
was probably
was
going to end
never
up being
mentioned in the
erased.
beginning.
Oh, man.
Photos of those.
Yeah, that's some
I
scary
can't
stuff,
kind
dude.
of unravel, and then all of a sudden the family stops responding.
Yeah,
Now,
look at
the
that. Look
media
at that.
don't think to take
It was
photos
that
of those, and
green
it starts
that
to
green
kind
light
of
you see in the middle
unravel,
of the
and then
sky.
all of a sudden
What
the
could that be?
family
I've seen
stops
that.
responding. Now
And it
the
just
media has
disappears. It's such
descended. They've
weird.
found the location. They're, I'm sure, getting bombarded.
I mean, an
and it's
asteroid
natural.
can't be
Maybe you'd want to
blue,
go into
right?
hiding. But at
And I
So
this
don't know
I've
much
point,
seen
about
stuff
science.
like
want
that
to
in the
just kind of clear
past.
the air once and for all.
It's more of a falling star
And
where debris
it's
falls from
very odd because
space
we've
and it
looked at
looks
it
like a
every
ball
angle we
of fire
possibly
falling from the
can,
sky.
except for maybe
I've
doing
seen
voice stress
red and I've
analysis.
seen
When you
yellow.
played the
I have
one
not
tape,
seen
I was thinking
blue.
maybe we should do that too.
Yeah, same
Well,
here.
there's time.
I've been up to
Because
Nevada,
we're not
dude,
getting very
where
far
where
on
there's some
this, although
real
you've
nice
gotten
stargazing
farther
spots,
than it
and
seems
I
the
was able to
police
see like a
have.
bunch of shooting
I'm a
stars
little
one night. It was insane. And
disconcerted with the
yeah,
Now,
they
this
did
this
not
is
look like
different
families at
blue,
police
that's
from
for
a
station.
sure.
shooting
A couple
star
days
because a
later,
shooting star
I did
just
this whole
So
investigation.
it
far
just
off,
shoots
huh?
straight
And the
through, but a
Metro
falling
Vegas police
star
have
looks
said,
like a
no, we
ball of
didn't.
fire falling
Can you tell
into
me if
Earth.
you've
It
investigated
looks
or
like
reported
a
on or
plane blew up
witnessed
in the
any
sky
other
or
incidents of
something.
these
It's really fascinating
strange,
to look at, and that's what that reminds me of.
incidents
That kind
where
of does look
people
like that,
arrive to
right? Sounds
investigate
like
that
it.
apparently don't
But
exist?
it's a weird coincidence
Yeah,
to
absolutely. And I would
something like
say
that
that
happen
we
as
do
there
have
is
pretty
this alien
convincing
report
evidence that
going
has
on.
happened in the past, maybe the
No, I
50s and
see. I
60s.
see what you're
I think
saying.
it's really difficult to find such a situation now because you could find this
Yeah.
type of
So
story in the
what's your
tabloids,
opinion, dude? Let's
and
get
then
your opinion
if there was a
on
secret keeping
aliens,
group who
or
would
you know what
honestly
I mean?
believe them and
Life
take it as
existing
I have
true
outside of
different
if they
Earth.
theories.
came out and just said
Let's
their
hear him.
story like they've been doing, and there's no need to
Personally,
cover it
I
up.
have
So I do think that's kind of,
some different
yeah,
theories
more
here.
in the realm of conspiracy.
And one of them is
However,
interesting because
they had
it,
photos supposedly, and
what
they
the
released
kid said
photos.
in
The
that
police
video
went
that I
there.
told you about that
Should
he
be
deleted
verified,
or
but
somebody
sources are
deleted
telling
was
us
Uh-huh.
that
nothing
he
officially.
said that
No
when
one
they
has
saw
figured
this
out to follow
beast
up.
in their backyard. He and his family started praying. And when they started praying, this beast just let out this huge wail, and he had like a recording of it, and it just sounded like horrible, like he didn't like the fact that they were praying, you know. So one of my theories is that aliens could potentially maybe be
Demons.
demonic entities. Yeah.
Yes, bro, that's a big controversy, and that's an idea that I've heard of before, dude. And that's actually, believe it or not, talked about a lot, where people believe that aliens, because there's no mention of them in the Bible, that
And
they're actually demons. You know what I mean? And that makes
here's
total
what
sense
I will
to a
say
degree.
about that too,
Uh huh.
is that the Bible doesn't say that aliens exist. It's nowhere in there, right? I
Yeah.
read it 5 times through, front and back, and it doesn't talk about that. But what it does say biblically is that humans are God's highest creations. So the idea of aliens being higher than humans would technically contradict that. So
I see
it
what you're
could
saying.
potentially just be fallen angels, since humans are the highest creation. Um, and then another thing too is, let's say aliens are real. You know, if you're going specifically from what the Bible says, um, it talks about how mankind is unique and has the free will to think for themselves and that we're intelligent beings, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that animals in other planets doesn't exist, you know?
Very true.
Because yeah, so like they discovered an ocean or a planet that's nothing but like water, one giant ocean. It's possible that fish can exist inside of that planet, right?
More than possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this other uh, theory in mind actually doesn't come from me. This is something I find really interesting, and it's called the Fermi paradox, where basically the reason why we never see or haven't like encountered any aliens is because, according to this paradox, when an alien civilization or any civilization reaches its technological peak, it ends up destroying itself before it's able to actually travel across the stars. And they're worried that humanity's entering into that same exact path, that we're going to end up destroying ourselves before we're able to become a tier 2 society, a space bearing species. So
You
that
know,
theory suggests
that's an
many aliens
interesting
out
theory.
there.
That's an interesting theory,
Yeah,
and that's so believable. You know what I mean? Our primal instincts kicking in, taking over. You know, because there a lot of people say that the rate that we're gaining technology is faster than our primitive minds can keep up with it. You know what I mean? On a
yeah.
physical and mental level, meaning that we're just a bunch of monkeys with all this high tech. You know what I mean? All this future technology, and we're not going to be able to control it. We're not going to have the ethics to do it properly to continue
So those are
advancing. You
my
know?
two thoughts, my two possible theories right there, you know.
And you know, what if, dude? What if, because there also is the possibility that the aliens were, you know what I mean? Because you're saying that when they were praying, that the aliens just looked in disgust and they were making all these crazy noises, right? As if they
Yeah,
disagreed with it. Well, what
like
if,
it was
man?
pissed off.
What if it's at such a high degree, you know what I mean, in their society that they completely abandon religion and focus on purely technology and
Well,
discovering the
would they
world
have
that
the
they
concept
just
of religion? That's
well,
that's the other question.
that is a good question, but what if they just were disgusted, you know what I mean, and just looked at the two people like they were idiots, like, oh, these guys are
They were
really praying.
inside the
They
house and
should
the
be
alien was
discovering new
outside of the
elements.
backyard. So it would be impossible to have heard them praying inside the house if he's outside, unless if he can like read their minds or something.
Exactly, dude. Well, there's a lot of talk about that too, where eventually civilizations can get so far into the technology, that they realize that you know what I mean, talking with lungs and talking with air and hearing these sounds is so primitive that they literally just have, you know what I mean, mind control and telekinesis to just send each other's signals on what they're saying.
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy, man.
Telepathy. Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? What if they're just thinking like it's so primitive to start talking and all that? You know what I mean? It's boom. That's how telekinesis happens, right? With aliens.
No, telekinesis is something different. That's the
Or
ability to levitate objects with your mind.
oh, okay. Well, being able to read minds. Being able to
Yeah,
read minds.
telepathy.
Oh, telepathy, that's what it is. Okay. Telepathy. Yeah, man. It could get that far. It could get that far. you know, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I like where you're going with the civilizations ending themselves before they even get a chance to advance to the next stage. You know, because that does look like what we're going through right now with all these
Yeah,
nukes,
you
dude.
ever heard of the Kardashev
The what? Cartier?
Kardashev scale?
Oh,
It's
Kardashev
it's a
scale.
Russian it's a Russian name. Basically, the scale describes the different tiers of society. So tier 0 would pretty much look like us. We
Uh-huh.
have been unable to harness the energy and the power of the earth, so we rely off of temporary energy like fossil fuels, for example. A
I
tier
see.
1 society is capable of terraforming the planet and harnessing the energy of the planet. So I'm talking about like water power stuff, solar power stuff, wind power. Then a tier 2 society is a society that's able to actually travel within its own solar system and harness the energy from the sun. So the sun is what powers or provides power for the entire solar system, the technology for it, I mean.
That is
So
so
think
crazy.
of Star Trek. Star Trek is a tier 2 society. Um, a tier 3 society would look more like something out of Star Wars, an empire, an entire galaxy that's been colonized, and they harness the energy of 1,000 suns, basically, all the suns in the entire galaxy. A tier 4 society, you'd be looking at people coming from different galaxies coming together, forming this huge um how would you
Hmm.
want to call it? So imagine, let's say, the Milky Way, and we end up colonizing our own backyard neighboring galaxies, and we become like one society. So you got the Andromeda galaxy, you got the Triangulum galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. We're all one society. That's a tier 4 society right there. We're harnessing the power of other galaxies now. So humanity currently, as it stands, we're a tier 0 society.
You
We're
know what?
getting
Yeah, I
very
believe
close to
that,
tier 1,
man.
though.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
close to tier 1.
Seems like a pretty good scale. Seems like a pretty good scale. And yeah, man, what if these civilizations, like the max stage or the very end stage, is the keeper of all species? You know what I mean? Once you get to the final stages of life, you know what I mean? One of your main goals is to help other civilizations reach that goal. You know what I mean? So there are discussions that what if those aliens are keepers, right? Trying to help human society elevate to the next stage. Reason being
That
is a lot of people say that a lot of the alien sightings mostly began after the first couple of nuclear strikes
they
that were
could be
dropped.
trying to advance the human race, or they could be going based off of what Star Trek does. I'm trying to remember the term for it, but basically, you're not allowed to intervene on societies that haven't developed the first warp engine. You got to let them develop on their own without giving them a head start.
That's a cool
You can't.
concept. That's interesting. You know what I mean? So those civilizations are off the table.
Yep,
It's
yep.
not
Until they
honorable.
reach space travel.
That is crazy, man. As soon as they build the first spaceship, they just freaking send them freaking we're at war. That's it, man. Imagine that, dude.
Exactly. So, like, they could look at us and they'd be like, this species is too primitive. If we were to reveal ourselves to them, they would freak out or show some sort of hostilities towards us. This may affect their religion or how their society operates. As a matter of fact, you may even tear the society apart.
That is
That was the
crazy.
logic in Star Trek.
That
So,
is crazy. People had too much time to think, those writers. Oh man, dude. That's a cool concept. I dig that. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're off the tables right now. That's why we haven't seen anything in this huge ass universe,
and we do it too when it comes to indigenous tribes and societies in the globe, especially Sentinel Island.
Yeah, I've
There's a
seen.
whole island. Yeah, there's a whole island full of indigenous people that are still living like how they did like 11,000 years ago,
Yeah, dude, there
you
was
know.
a story about that actually, about this white man that went to go visit one of these indigenous groups.
It was an Asian guy. He went to go spread the gospel to them and they killed him with an arrow.
Well, there was actually another one where this guy went to a group of cannibals, dude. So similar story where
Oh,
this guy went to a group of cannibals and he went missing, dude. He went inside the island and never came out. And it's crazy because like years later they captured videos of the exact same tribe or the exact same group, and there was one white man in the entire group of people, dude. And they think that that was him that actually made it into the group, man, and survived all those years.
now I bring this subject up because they actually ended up blocking off the whole island. They have naval ships surrounding it to ensure that there are no visitors that enter into Sentinel Island because we don't want to disrupt them and their way of life. We're going to let them completely develop on their own. So even as humans, we already do the same thing with these indigenous cultures because we can potentially bring in illnesses that they've never been exposed to before and accidentally wipe out their entire population.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Now, Sentinel Island, like other civilizations, have meddled with their people in the past. Started out with a shipwreck, I believe, in the late 1800s or something, and the survivors brought back like another ship there to pick up some people and brought them to the mainland. Well, when those kids came back, they told everybody what happened and said that the outside world is evil because their parents died of an illness, and they believed that the outsiders are the ones that were responsible for killing them with poison or something.
Oh man.
So they're very
They
hostile
just
towards outsiders now. Yeah, yeah, that picture right there on the left where you see like a tribe by
Mhm.
the ocean, that's from Sentinel Island right there.
Yeah, this
They
is the
will
story you
shoot.
were talking about. You know what? It might be the same story that I'm bringing up, but I could have sworn that I was looking at video conspiracies where they actually found another photo of the same group with the one white person in there, and they believe that that was the guy. But I
It's
think it might be
possible because
different.
multiple people have gone there um for like the past 100 years now, and there are currently two bodies posted on a stake, dead bodies of visitors that
Oh my
went there, and
God.
that was to show like this is what we do to outsiders. So don't bother coming here. We want nothing to do with you. So if they see a boat come by, they'll start shooting arrows at it. And that's the result of what happens when you start meddling in tribes that shouldn't have known that there's an outside bigger world out there that exists, basically.
Way bigger
Because these
world,
guys are
dude.
still living in the Stone Age.
Yeah, something like that happened to this reporter, dude, in 1961. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
they were going to that island during the 60s and 70s.
This must have been the first guy. It was the governor's son.
There was a guy who escaped prison on a raft and accidentally ended up on that island, and they killed him too.
Oh my God.
That whole shipwreck I was talking about earlier, a lot of the survivors from that shipwreck were killed, about like half of them.
Reminds me of that King Kong story, dude. Island filled
Yeah, it
with
was kind of the
cannibals,
same
man.
concept.
An island filled with cannibals, dude. Imagine that.
Yeah,
Bring out the
it may
guns,
have been
man.
inspired from this. Look
Yeah,
up
it's a
that video,
crazy concept. What was the video called?
or Sentinel Island. So to them, we're advanced aliens.
I love shopping the Real Real. It's Gucci, Louis Vuitton.
Arrested for murder of U.S. national by Sentinel's tribe. Another tourist was killed, dude. John Allen
4 years
Chow. Or
ago.
you know what? That might have been the same.
Uninhabited, an out-of-bounds island, I beg your pardon, in the Andaman and Nicobar chain. An American
Oh,
tourist
that was the
identified
guy. That
as
was the
John
guy.
Allen Chow, 27 years old, has reportedly been killed by the Sentinelese tribes who populate the North
So this is
Sentinel
just an
Island, an
isolated
out-of-bounds
tribe, dude.
island in the
And this
Andaman
Christian
and
goes to
Nicobar
try and
island
spread
chain.
the
An FIR
gospel
has
to
been
these
filed in
guys, and
Chennai by the U.S. consulate
it was a bad
regarding this
mistake,
American
man.
tourist
Bad
who's gone
mistake.
missing. Chow was reportedly a missionary. That's what some local reports say. There's
He
no
was like the
confirmation of that.
first guy to
And had
die by an
visited the
arrow in
isolated
like
islands 5
100 years,
times,
apparently.
Are you
strongly desiring
serious?
to meet
Has
members
Yeah.
there really
of the
not been
tribe
cases of
and
people dying by
apparently
arrows?
preach Christianity.
Yep.
I'd
7
imagine there'd
people
be
who
an accident in the
facilitated this
last 100
tourist
years, right?
in reaching this
That's
Nope.
crazy. crazy.
Bounds Island. Nobody's allowed
So
to
the
go
first
there,
reported
have been
person to be
arrested.
killed by
The
an
Sentinelese
arrow
tribe
in
is known
100
to
years.
reject contact with the
Yeah,
outside
man.
world. They live
Guns
a
control
highly
everything
primitive
now.
existence
I
and
know.
choose to remain disconnected from the
Like
world.
that for the last
The
100
Indian law
years.
protects the Sentinelese people, who are very few in number, less than 50. That's an aerial view of what this beautiful island looks like. They can be prosecuted, and entry into areas inhabited by the Sentinelese is currently illegal. So this
Oh man,
27-year-old
they made it
American
illegal
tourist,
probably for
who
people's
some
protection,
local
but you know what I
reports
mean?
are
There's gonna
calling
be
a
some white
missionary,
guy,
Christian
dude.
missionary or evangelist,
There's gonna be some white guy that goes
was
for
killed
sport,
by the
dude, and just
Sentinelese
hunts
people
motherfuckers out
once
there,
he
man.
reached there.
That's crazy,
Sketchy
dude.
details so far. The
Apparently,
U.S.
the
Embassy has said it is
Japanese
making inquiries and has
Empire
offered no
actually
further comment
occupied that
beyond
island for
what
like a
is
short
already
period of
known at this
time
time. I
during
want to
World
go
War
across
II.
to India Today's Priyambada for more on the story. Priyambada, John Allen Chow, what we do know is that he was in his 20s.
Pre-World War
He
II,
was a
you said he
tourist of
landed
some
there?
kind. Some
During
local
World War
reports are
II.
saying that he was a Christian missionary as well. What more can you tell us?
Well, Shiv,
Imagine
we've got
crash
some
landing there,
exclusive
dude.
details
That would be
about
terrible.
John Chow, who
Well,
was
apparently
killed
to that
Yeah.
guy in the
a day back on
1960s, what had
14th
happened,
of
I was reading a
November.
little bit of
We are
it.
being told by the
After swimming ashore, I guess he crashed in a boat or something, and barely escaping sharks from being eaten alive, dude. He makes it ashore only to be killed by those fucking
I
tribal
know.
guys, dude. Those Sentinel tribes.
Still a horrible way to go.
police sources that he had entered this
Yeah, dude.
sensitive island with the help of 7
Probably got a
fishermen,
bunch of
who,
sticks with
according to
spikes in
sources,
them.
are again from Christian
Telling you,
missionaries.
dude,
So
just
he
like
had
that King
two
Kong
intentions.
movie.
One, it was definitely
Do you remember that scene, dude, from King
Yeah.
Kong?
Yeah, I remember when they first landed on the island, and a bunch of indigenous
Yeah,
people come out.
dude. It was Skull Island, right? Or
No, it's just King Kong. Skull Island is the latest one that came out.
wasn't that what the
King
island was
Kong
called?
2005. King Kong 2005. Yeah, the island is called Skull Island, but the most recent movie is just called Kong Skull Island.
Oh yeah, this
I
is it,
don't
dude.
typically like
So
movies.
fucking creepy, dude. Just looking
Take me
back
through a
on the
world of
scene,
emotions.
dude. Oh my goodness, man. Imagine being one of these guys for the first time. You're coming up on this island. You're seeing skulls everywhere, dude. Skulls everywhere, and then this little girl
Imagine
here sticking her
their
hand out.
reaction though. Seeing these like white people in these weird clothes and weird technology carrying a little
Probably look
boomstick.
like aliens, dude. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what the heck? Does that white girl have blonde hair? Probably don't even know what blonde is.
They would probably say gold hair.
Gold hair, yeah. Imagine seeing blonde hair for the first time. That must be a weird scene.
Yeah.
Like Mexicans, you know what I mean? There's not really many blonde Mexicans.
Here, put it in your hand and take it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd know of any unless they dyed their hair.
That's how the Aztecs reacted.
He doesn't want the chocolate.
Yeah, basically.
This freaking little golem looking creature. Oh my gosh. They're hissing like freaking cats, dude. Oh, there's so many of them, dude. Oh, why would you walk in there? They're all scared, dude.
They're harmless.
They're not harmless. Oh, dude, crazy. See, this was such a good movie, right, for the time, dude.
Oh, it was. I haven't seen it in years.
Same here, dude. The only problem was it was like freaking 3-4 hours, right?
3 hours.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Not gonna lie, I've been thinking about watching the movie again lately.
Oh man, I'm thinking about it too, man. It's so freaking scary, dude. So freaking scary, dude. Tell me this would not be terrifying.
Starting to lag now.
No, it's just what the movie. That's how the movie is.
Oh, okay.
like weird stop. And look at that stick, dude. That's what I wanted to bring up, man. Those are the kinds of weapons they had, man. Sticks
Kind
and
of weapons you
spikes
don't want
like
to die
that,
by.
man. Exactly, dude.
Think about how
Exactly.
brutal medieval warfare used to be.
Well, you know what? A blade is a much quicker death, man. I would think than
Oh yeah, but you got
being
battle
freaking
axes and
bludgeoned.
clubs and hammers, war hammers.
Is she flipping him off? It looked like the old lady was flipping him off, but this is why you need guns, man. This is why you need guns, dude. You're gonna come in, dude, and start spraying, and you're gonna clear them out in a couple seconds, dude. Less than a minute. Put them in line. Yeah, guns, man. That's the American way, dude. Oh man, what a terrible way to go out. Boom. Lays it down, dude. Oh, dude, I was just about to get to the good part, man. Yeah, man, crazy, crazy. Yeah, imagine coming across a tribe like that, dude. That hasn't advanced yet. You know, it's very crazy, dude.
Yeah, there's plenty. Even in Latin America.
Yeah, I believe that, especially in Latin America. There's a lot of
And
indigenous
then there's
tribes out
still a
there.
lot of indigenous tribes in Africa too.
Oh, I believe it, bro. I believe it. No, because there's so many different languages, like you said, dude. If there's a language like dying every week, I think you mentioned it the last podcast, a language dying every week, then yeah, man, there's got to be so many small civilizations and groups scattered everywhere.
Have you ever seen the movie Apocalypse Now?
Apocalypse Now, dude. Is that the one with the?
It's a Vietnam War movie. And I bring it up because there was a scene in there where they come across a tribe in Vietnam. But get this, that was
What's up?
actually a real legit tribe in Vietnam, and they just asked if if they could shoot some scenes there, and they welcomed there as long as if they gave them a water buffalo for sacrifice.
What the heck?
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna try to
they,
find the scenes for you.
so they used the real tribe as a part of the movie. It's wild.
Yeah. So like the whole settlement and everything.
All the
Let's
people
see.
in white, dude.
Okay, I found it. It's towards the end of the movie. It's a really good movie. I recommend watching it, especially if you're into military history or the Vietnam War.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's just like a freaking U.S. soldier hanging his fucking cheeks out
Here
right
you
there.
go. Yeah, I just sent you the link to the video right now. So, and this movie was filmed in 1979. So that goes to show that there's plenty of indigenous tribes out there.
This is going to be
We
an
got
excellent
going on
restaurant,
here.
a destination spot. That's being
What, confident?
cocky.
Damn ads, man.
Okay, I'm choosing to believe.
Yeah, man, there's so many advertisements now, dude. And they're so tailored nowadays, the advertisement scenes. It's crazy.
It's all those algorithms.
Yeah, man.
You can probably skip ahead just a little bit because it's a 7-minute long video. There you go. Right there's good. No, yeah, that's good.
So this is a real tribe that they used for the movie, huh?
Yep.
That
They were
is
filming in
scary, bro.
their
How,
location.
how much of a liability is that, dude? At any second, they just snap, dude, and just murder. It turns into that scene from King Kong, dude. And these are real actors, right?
Yeah. Well,
Who's
the
that?
white
He looks
guy's a real
familiar.
actor. Yeah, he's famous. I forget his name. I'll show it to you later on.
Old movie though, huh? Came out late 70s.
Yeah, but it's still a really good movie.
No,
This
it
is
aged well.
basically the ending of the movie, but there's a scene in there where they sacrifice the water buffalo, it was part of some kind of sacrificial offering and some kind of festivity going on there, ritual or something.
But their commanders
So it was completely realistic. That was not animated at all. The death of that water buffalo.
on their airplane.
Those damn
Yeah.
animals were
The-
actually harmed in the making of that film.
yes. The cameraman just happened to be there at the right time after they gave the water buffalo as a deal to film in their location. And then he saw them killing the water buffalo and he turned his camera on and recorded it. Right
Oh
there.
my god, dude. Whoa. Wicked fucking scene, dude. Look at
And they're
that,
still
dude. How
going at
much
it. Yeah.
strength you would need to cut a water buffalo's head like that in one blow. That is insane. And that's real, dude. That's real. Holy crap.
Yep.
Wow, dude.
Poor guy, you know. Like they didn't hack to the whole head, so obviously he still feels what's going on.
He got hit in the head right now, or he dodged it?
Well, they're cutting the head off of the
Oh, the
animal,
buffalo.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got him. You have a stick, dude?
He was beating him with some kind of club, I think.
I thought he had a sword at first.
Look at that.
This is brutal, dude. Oh
Look,
my
the
god.
animal's still alive. Oh, he's done now. Yeah.
Fucking wow. You know what, dude? That water buffalo, at the end of the day, that was still probably an easier way to go out than a lion or a tiger. Getting your
I don't know,
palsy
man.
and- Those animals, dude, they go for your weak spots, dude. They go for your nuts and
They
stuff.
go for the neck.
You know, I might be thinking about bears, dude. I'm thinking about bears. You hear how bears kill deers, dude? They go straight for the balls, dude. It's crazy. Same for wolves too. If a wolf pack, dude, if they come up on a creature, dude, and like coyotes too, like a coyote pack, dude, they'll surround the creature and they'll get them from everywhere, dude. There'll be one going for the nuts, one going for the neck, one going
It's
for a leg,
funny you
another
say that
leg, and
because
oh, terrible, dude.
humans do the same thing. In my area where I live, there's a lot of hunters.
The fuck?
And once they kill the deer, the first thing they do is they tear off the balls
No, but
because it
I'm
makes it
talking about
easier
while
for them.
they're still alive, dude.
Yeah. Oh.
While they're still
Oh.
alive, the first thing they go for, dude, while they're eating them alive, is tearing off their
Oh yeah,
nuts,
they
dude.
can't run. Can't run
Uh-huh.
after that.
Oh, dude, it's so terrible, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, brutal stuff, bro. So I'm saying, that water buffalo probably got an easy way out, considering how brutal nature is. I just fucking murdered him with a stick, dude. Yeah, that looks like a wild movie, dude. Wow, you're watching this as a kid, man? What kind of movies you watching as a kid?
It's a great movie, man.
Oh man, that's a
I'm
wild
pretty
thing.
sure your fans will agree.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that movie sometime. I'll take a look.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, these are you know how
It's
podcasts
as
they
long
have a
as
name
King
for their
Kong, though.
visitors. I gotta make an intro. Well, I do have an intro. This is the first intro. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we did experiment with a new intro this episode. We'll see how that goes. And if we like the intro and you guys too, we'll continue on with it. We'll continue on with it. But yeah, man. Yeah, so we also did have something else in the pinned messages. We had the let's go ahead and bring this up, dude. So it's something you shared to me. It was a document that you were saying that was basically written by Nazi Germany and it was carried by the soldiers, right?
So how I came across this was probably about maybe 10 years ago, I think.
10
I
years
had a
ago.
neighbor, old guy, whose dad served in World War II in the Air Force. He was an aviator, and he let his son basically let me borrow all of those old manuscripts. It showed stuff on B-17 bombers and all kinds of just aircraft. Really fascinating stuff. And I came across this old document in there.
Yeah.
It was obviously issued during the Cold War, and they were talking about like to watch for these signs because they point towards a communist revolution, basically.
And you're
So
you're
they,
saying that this was written by the United States?
so they found a document in 1919, as it says right there. In May of 1919 at Dusseldorf, Germany and the Allied forces obtained a copy of some of the communist rules for revolution. Nearly 50 years later, which is now when they typed up this document right here, the Reds are still following the rules. As you read, stop after each item and think about the present day situation where we live. And all around our nation, we quote the red rules. So,
Oh, I see. So they wrote. Okay, okay. So in Germany, they found the copy of all the rules, and now they're kind of giving a heads up about them, right? To make it a little
yeah,
bit more aware.
and this is during the whole hippie counterculture movement here. And they're showing all the signs of what's going on in our country and how that reflects to what that old communist plan was in 1919. So
Okay.
point A here is corrupt the young and get them interested in sex, make them superficial and destroy their ruggedness. And then point B is get control of all the means of publicity, thereby get people's minds off their government by focusing their attention on entertainment, sexy books, plays, and other
Okay, okay. Let's first off
trivialities.
let's take a look at A.
So
Let's talk about A real quick.
they're both A and B go together. That's why I listed to both because go ahead. Go ahead. Because
Yeah,
I'm
no,
pretty
okay,
sure you're
I
about
see.
to
They
say what
they
I'm gonna say.
yeah, they do go together. They do go together, but the first statement, number A, letter A, corrupt the young, get them interested in sex, make them superficial, destroy their ruggedness. And that goes along with everything that's being forced, all these ideologies that are being purposely forced on targeted, young minds. So basically molding kids into what do you call it? To align with all their ideologies on you know what I mean, this whole gender argument and all these LGBTQ rights that are being forced.
Yeah,
And
example. They're teaching in kindergarten that kids should basically cut their private parts off.
it's something that, you know what I mean, like I said, uh that goes within every family. It's such a controversial subject, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, yeah, everybody has the freedom to do what they want. That's the joy, one of the joys of the United States. But I think when you're purposely targeting children to mold them, or what is the term called? When you
There's
basically,
conditioning. There's another word.
there's another word that you know what I'm talking about, right? It's more of a
Grooming.
popular grooming.
Grooming.
That's the word.
Grooming's the
So
word.
grooming children, dude, and that's where I kind of, you know what I mean. I'm like, whoa, does that really belong in an environment that's meant to learn and you know what I mean,
And not only
teach?
that, too, kids nowadays have no respect for authority either.
Yes, dude.
And
You don't know how many videos I see, dude, on Reddit, dude, of all these teachers swinging at teachers, cussing them out, and it's like, wow, dude, they have zero respect for authority, which is not even authority, but for a respectful figure that's teaching you and giving you something. They're not taking, they're giving. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how little
yeah.
respect kids have these days. And
And
every
here's the
single one
other
of
part
those.
of
Go
that
ahead.
first sentence is get them interested in sex. So corrupt the young and get them interested in sex. And this also goes back to grooming, how they're teaching kids in elementary school about sex, especially, like homosexual sex.
Yeah, and like
So
I said, that doesn't belong in an educational environment. That's something that needs to be individually talked about with their parent, you know what I mean? Because every
yeah,
family is, you know what I mean, raised on different morals and values to basically have control over your children. More people should be against that than I would think, you know what I mean? I I would think that more people would be against it, but that's not the case. Because they're basically taking more control of your children, right? And I don't have any kids, so you know what I mean. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But it seems like the government is trying to gain more control over what your child knows. You know what I mean? They're basically
yeah,
changing their morals, which is nuts. You know what I mean? They've been saying for a long time that teachers shouldn't talk about religion and personal values. They should leave that
yeah.
out because At the end of the day, they're there for one thing, and that's to teach you a certain subject to make sure that you excel in it. That's it, you know?
Then agreed, 100% agree. And this next part here talks about making them superficial. Like, how superficial has everybody become today with social media and in the dating world? Think about that.
Crazy, dude. It's like whoever has more likes has a better life, I guess.
Yeah,
That's what it seems
everybody's
like.
more
Those are the
focused
morals of today's society.
on their Instagram stories, their posts, having a great image online, and everybody's more focused on, getting rich and having a really nice car. Very superficial when it comes to dating, relationships, marriage, and all that too. So and so needs to be 6 feet high, have about make six-figure incomes every year,
It's
has all
yeah,
these things.
very very shallow now. Very very
Yeah,
shallow.
yeah. And then the expectations for women that they need to be basically be plastic, you know?
It's insane, dude. And it's crazy how much they're normalizing all that, dude. You turn on the radio and that's all you hear over here, dude. That's all I hear in California, dude. You turn on the radio, and half the commercials and ads in the radio broadcast are literally talking about liposuctions and breast reductions and being a part of the itty bitty titty committee.
Yeah.
Dude, you've heard it before. You've heard it before, and
No,
there's
that's
and they
the first
normalize
time I
it,
heard of
dude.
them.
It's so normalized that what do you call it? They're just broadcasting it like nothing on the radio, and it's like wow. When you kind of try and turn that around, imagine if they had like fucking dick enlargement radio broadcasts showing everywhere. Everybody would be like, what the hell's going on here? But they've been normalizing women and I'm not body shaming or anything like that. You do what you want at the end of the day, but I think when it's purposely targeting a certain audience that maybe, a lot of them wouldn't need the operation that they're going through if they just felt a little more comfortable with themselves. But that's,
Yeah.
out of the subject now, but and the last one was destroy their ruggedness.
That's talking about the feminization of men, males.
And you know what? You know what? Yeah, I can see where that's going. I can see where that's going. Most definitely, most definitely. I just think that nowadays everybody relies so much on their phones that you know what I mean? They don't know simple things. Like how many people do you know how to start a fire or know how to fight or wrestle or grapple with somebody,
Yeah.
or they know how to exactly take care of themselves, fish. They know how to farm, acquire their own resources. It's that doesn't exist nowadays.
If you
Everybody's
make
so
the people
dependent.
who are likely to fight weak, they're not going to be able to fight back or desire to fight back.
No,
They're just going
exactly.
to give up without resistance.
And you know what they say, dude, is before a revolution ever starts, you know what I mean? I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about this. One of the first questions this guy asked one of these people that wanted to start a revolution and blah blah blah. He's like, first off, can you take care of yourself? Can you grow your own food? Can you acquire your own resources? And the reason why I'm saying this is because before you start a revolution, you got to make sure you're 100% independent from the government. You know what I mean? And
Get
that's
this.
meaning why don't rely on the government.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? That's the rightness. That's what I
So
interpret.
when I used to live in California, there were laws being passed to where they were trying to ban people from being able to grow their own food in their backyard, starting a farm. And if you have more than 6 days worth of food, you're considered a terrorist. And if you have like more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition, you're considered a terrorist. So they're trying to get people to become more dependent on the government than being self-reliant. So anything that involves being self-reliant, they're trying to legalize all that stuff.
That's
So
wild to me, dude. That's wild to me.
yeah, point B here is get control of all means of publicity, thereby get people's minds off the government by focusing their attention on entertainment, sexy books, plays, and other trivialities. It's kind of a hard word for me to pronounce, but
No, yeah, no, don't sweat it, dude.
look at
Get
publicity.
control of all means of publicity, thereby get people's minds off their government by focusing their attention on entertainment, sexy books, and plays and other trivialities. All right, so yeah, so basically distract them. Give them plenty of
Yeah,
distractions.
and in terms of publicity, the Democratic Party owns about like 90% of the news media sources out there, and they also control, the film industry, especially Disney. Disney's like one of the big advocates.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. And there was a big conspiracy about the whole submarine. You know how the submarine just hit all the news stations at once. It's just a couple of rich
Yeah,
people. I feel like there's bigger problems going on every single day that don't even make the major headlines that should. And I believe that most of the news outlets are controlled by the government, obviously, right?
yeah,
A lot of them are sponsored
and
by big companies that basically run them. They're run by their advertisements, by their advertisers that pay them. That's who their
yep,
bosses are, the advertisers.
and they're distracting the world using pornography, getting people addicted to that, or addicted to video games, shows, the next latest Marvel movie, and all that stuff also has subliminal messages in there because obviously they've been trying to push an agenda for quite a while, and they're no longer hiding that either. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
doing a great job at distracting us.
no 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And yeah, man, I do think that everybody should enjoy themselves, and there are certain entertainment aspects that you know that that are meant to be lived on. Like I think we should continue to do what you
Well, the
want,
point
blah blah
is
blah.
they'll
But
distract people so that way they don't see what you're doing, what the
exactly.
government's getting away with.
Just don't let it get to an addiction, and keep your eyes open on the real world events. But I
Point
do
C
think
is an interesting one.
all right,
Oh,
let's
go
go ahead and
ahead.
move on. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We got caught up on letter B for a while. So go ahead and read off
Uh,
C.
C is divide the people into hostile groups by constantly harping onto controversial matters of no importance.
And
You
that
you see this on the media every single day.
every single day. I'm like one of the few that I could name off the top of my head is the whole Bud Light controversy, dude, where they're just distracting. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, man,
Yeah,
this.
they'll try to pass a law to piss people off and divide them. Example, when they were doing the whole like gender bathroom thing for like public places such as Walmart and Target, men can go in
Genderless.
women's bathrooms and women go into the men's bathroom, blah blah
Yeah, I
blah.
think I could see the uncomfortable natures from that, right? And that
The point
simple
is
answer to that is genderless bathrooms, but it's crazy
yeah,
how
but the
that
point was
even on.
to pass laws like these that would become controversial and draw up more division between people.
Yeah,
And that
dude.
will also goes back to point B where it'll distract them from everything else that the government's doing. So it's like, oh, hey, the government wants to pass some kind of fascist law. What do you do without getting people to notice what you're doing? Well, you know what? Let's distract them. Let's just go host like
Uh-huh.
this little, controversial LGBT related or Black Lives Matter related, or we'll throw in some neo Nazis in there to distract everybody. You know,
Yeah, man. And it's
just
crazy
to
how
tell them they're gonna pass some crazy laws.
Pride Month
Uh,
completely covered up men's mental health awareness month, right?
Oh, I
The
wasn't even aware of that.
it's sad, bro. It's very sad, but the month of June is meant to be Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's been out for a while,
So
man, but this doesn't it's not as
yeah,
important. I
another
guess it's not as
interesting thing
important.
about C, by the way,
Uh-huh.
another interesting point. So 6 months before the whole Black Lives Matter riots that took place in 2020, I saw on the news with my own eyes that reporting that the Russians and the Chinese were caught selling firearms to extremist groups on both sides, the left side and the right side, to
Oh my
cause
gosh.
disruption in America.
So they're selling
Six months
weapons,
later,
man. Uh-huh.
6 months later, what happens? The Black Lives Matter riots happens.
Gosh. They
And
started
then
an entire
Antifa
race war.
happens. Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
was
And then you
during the
got the
60s
neo
and the
Nazis
70s,
coming out.
right?
Oh, the paper was during the 60s and 70s. But what I'm talking about was during 2020,
Oh. Oh shit,
where
man.
Russia and China were caught selling arms to extremist groups on the left and the right. That was in 2020. That was in January. And the riots took place in like May or,
Dang, right
or June.
right before COVID. Isn't that a little weird, right? January 2020.
Yeah. So that's not even conspiracy. Like I saw that on the news. So, they're funding hostile groups to go fight each other, start a race war, start a political war, whatever they want to do, to bring division. Because a nation divided against itself cannot stand.
And you know what, dude? I see so many. There's a book on that. I don't. I listen to all these podcasts, and I don't know which. I wish I could give credit where it's due, but there's something similar to that, dude, where they're basically saying that ways to break apart the civilization in like a time frame of like 20 years. So they had these plans, all these communist countries like Russia, and on how to disrupt basically the United States in a matter of like 20 years. And it's this huge plan that I forgot what the rules were exactly, but it's almost identical to this where they're targeting the people, manipulating the society as a whole, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move
That's,
on
that's
to
actually
letter
a good thing
D.
you mentioned that.
Oh, what are you gonna
Uh,
bring up?
no, no, I said I'm just glad you mentioned that because now you're already kind of linking this paper to something else that you saw that's going on.
Yeah, and I wish I knew what it was so I could do a little bit more research on it. But maybe for the next podcast, I'll have a little bit more information on
All
that.
right.
But yeah, destroy the people's faith in their natural leaders by holding them up to contempt and ridicule.
That's an easy one.
Ah, man, Uncle Biden, dude. Uncle Biden. Oh man, that's who I immediately think of, man. Losing my faith and I'm you know what I mean? What's the word, dude? I'm totally blanking right now. I do that. You know what I mean? I do that right now. I think Joe Biden is a little bit unqualified for his position at his age right now in the position that he's in. I
A
don't
little
think that
bit.
he's fit. I don't think he's fit.
Yeah,
Dude, he,
right now, people do not have faith in our current administration
as
from
a
the
whole,
top
yeah.
down as a whole. Yeah.
And it's mainly because everything is manipulated by money now, dude, right? There's so many senators, dude, that are living off of like six-figure salaries, right? So they're making 100, 200 grand a year, right? Let's just say a senator,
Some of
dude.
them seven figures.
Yeah. Well, this is where I'm getting at, dude, is their
Yeah.
salary is six figures usually. And you know what I mean? Let's say they make 100, 200 grand and they're reporting in their IRSs that they're making millions, dude. Millions. And you know what they're making the money off of? Stock trading. So they're using
Hmm.
their insider
Oh,
trading knowledge, and it's crazy because there's zero regulations on their ability to trade
yeah.
with insider knowledge, which is
There's a term for
basically
that. I
stealing
just
from
don't
the
remember what it's
public.
called.
And I don't understand why that doesn't enrage people more than it should, because like I said, they're taking money from the people, from the people as a whole that are putting their money into the stock market
It
on
sounds like
100.
stock manipulation.
It's 100%. Well, I think what it is insider trading. Insider trading is having inside knowledge and still trading with that knowledge. That's illegal. So if you know something that's part of a non-disclosure agreement and you make a trade knowing the information, you could get in big trouble. But the thing
Yeah.
is, they're not held up to that standard apparently, and they're able to get away with it, which is insane. So these senators that are on like six-figure salaries are making hundreds of millions of dollars in a matter of years, which is crazy, dude. Crazy. It shouldn't be like that. 100% shouldn't be like that. And yeah, dude, that's where I lose faith in the government right now is how money gets in the way, dude. And it kind of destroys like the checks and balances because people do things for personal gain rather than for the country as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I do agree with that letter D right there, man. That's one of the contributing factors of like the downfall of our society right now is
Letter
the faith
E
in
is
our
also an
government.
interesting one too. Always preach true democracy, but seize power as fast and as ruthless as possible.
And, a good example of
How
that
many
was
times
California, dude.
how many times has leadership made a promise and did the exact opposite?
A lot of
Think,
times. Yeah, that's
yeah.
just yeah,
And
most
some of the
definitely,
most
dude.
recent ones, Biden was like, when I become president, don't worry, I'm not going to enforce the vaccination on the people. What happens?
Forced vaccinations and made lies about about the vaccinations basically stopping COVID before they even did the research.
Yeah. So the whole point here is that they preach about freedom and how they're going to support everybody's rights, and then they turn around and they just seize control. They take away your rights little at a time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, so I'm pulling up a Reddit page right now, but go ahead and keep reading off those letters, man. We're
Oh,
on
I
F
can't
right
see
now.
anything.
Oh, that's right. You were relying on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry,
I
dude.
mean,
I'm putting it back up.
I can pull it up. I'll pull it up on my own screen if that's the case. All right, I got it.
All right, sweet. We'll go ahead and leave it on both. That way the audience can read off with us. But so
Okay.
right there, we'll move on to F. But yeah, right there, preach true democracy, but seize power as fast and ruthless as possible. And like I said before, just real quick, California was a perfect
Oh
example
man.
of that, dude. When
This
they shut
this
down all the businesses.
this
But
next one, we guaranteed we've been seeing a lot of this lately
all
for
right,
F.
letter
By
F.
encouraging government extravagance, destroy its credit, produce fear of inflation with rising prices and general discontent.
And you know what? They're able to manipulate the oil and gas prices of our country to basically encourage that belief right there, bro, of disrupting society with inflation or the fear of inflation.
Yep,
That's a
yep.
good one, dude.
They've
Everybody
been
talks
talking
about
about
inflation.
inflation since 2019.
Yeah, you don't know how many
And
times
we
I heard in the past couple years people complaining about gas prices, dude. It's like, dude, shut up already, dude. I've heard it a million times. Gas is
and
expensive, I know.
look how bad the country's credit is and the whole credit system as a whole for the average like person. Look how corrupt it's become.
Yeah, dude, I believe that 100%. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And everybody's always talking about like another recession, another depression. Oh, save, save, save. Hold on to your money. Don't spend it. The economy is about to go downhill again. You're seeing this all over the news like these past
Yeah,
couple of years since
what happens
COVID.
when they don't spend, dude? The economy goes down.
Exactly.
And then, yep.
So like
So that's
and
real
then they're talking
100%.
about how the American dollar is collapsing and all that stuff, and that the yen is rising and it's going to replace the dollar bill as a worldwide currency.
I don't believe that, man. Yen, nah, it's sticking to the US dollar, man.
Well, have you ever heard of BRICS?
Bricks. Nah,
Yeah,
I haven't heard of it.
BRICS. Russia and China are forming their own version of the United Nations to replace the American dollar bill.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there was a bunch of other countries in there, right? That like India and Japan, and I think there's a couple others. But
Yeah, a lot of Latin American countries are joining BRICS too now. Mexico's one of them.
that's so weird. So I don't think it's meant to be against the UN though, dude. They got a lot of allied nations in there.
Well, they want to become independent from the US and the dollar bill.
Wag,
That's what it
USA,
is.
USA.
Because they're afraid of the American dollar bill and how it's losing its value and the
Yeah,
corruption that's behind it too.
there's a
So
lot of
already you're
corruption
seeing
in
this
the US
fear being
government, dude.
spread out all over the world, not just our nation. Nobody has faith in the American dollar anymore.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to letter G. So let's see. Promote unnecessary strikes in vital industries, encourage civil disorders, and foster a lenient and soft attitude on the part of the government towards such disorders. So
That
let's.
sounds very similar to like letter C, but in the workplace.
Yeah, so unnecessary strikes in vital industries, man. You know, in
Yeah,
Canada, that's what happened in Canada with the whole trucking industry. Well, I don't know. That was Justin
yeah.
Trudeau's fault. But
Right now, there's a whole strike in the filming industry with screenwriters. That's why a lot of movies are now currently being delayed. Um, and there's a lot of other strife that's going on in the workplace too. People have to cater to um, what do you call it? Pronouns.
yeah, dude. Yeah, and that right there, I'm glad you brought that up, dude. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, all these companies are being forced to basically get a little piece in the game, dude, of that whole LGBTQ movement. or else they're scared of being ridiculed. You know what I mean? Basically told that, hey, you're not moving with our agenda, so that means you're against us. And boom,
Yeah.
the backlash, dude, that some companies get. I mean, you saw Bud Light, dude, the backlash they got, dude. But that's kind of the opposite, you know. You know what I mean?
So
That one, I scratched my head over it. I'm like, whoa, dude, people care that much about just a simple video. I don't even think that was meant for that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's crazy controversy in of its own. But yeah,
yeah.
I see that. Yeah, companies are
So
forcing themselves to be a part of the agenda.
yep, and vital industries and civil disorders, which we've already seen a lot of. And
Mhm.
then it's talking about fostering a lenient and soft attitude from the government towards these disorders. Examples would be like, think about a situation that just happened and you expect the government to do something about it, but all the government does is give a little slap in the wrist. They're lenient about it, you know?
Like Pfizer, dude, and all them. Have you heard of the
Exactly.
Anthony Fauci
Exactly.
crisis, dude? With that one, there's some medication that was meant to cure AIDS, dude, or so that's what they were telling everybody was that it was meant to cure AIDS, and the medication that was pushed by Anthony Fauci, that big figure, dude, ended up killing thousands of people. Ended up killing so many people, and the crazy part is they were fined like 5 million or $1 billion and still made like 15 billion in profit. I don't know the exact numbers, but they were basically given a slap on the wrist and still made money off the death of thousands of people, which was
That's crazy.
wild, dude.
But Pfizer and all that stuff that you just said, great examples of this that's showing what's going on.
Yeah.
That was a great reflection there, I think.
Yeah, most definitely, dude. And then let's go ahead and move on to letter H, right? So by
Yeah,
specious argument, cause breakdown of the moral virtues, honesty, sobriety, continence, faith, and faith in the pledged world. So basically, break down moral virtues and see that. So basically, if it's talking about moral virtues and honesty, that just goes down to breaking down the integrity of people. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. How many people nowadays have integrity?
Not many at all, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like have you what do you think of those people that get stopped by police officers, dude? And the first instinct to do is to whip out their phone and start recording.
Oh, I
I'm
know,
like,
that's true.
dude, that you have to look at the human, the officer as a human. He's a human being, you know what I mean? And it's just you're already aggravating him and pushing his buttons, dude, when it's crazy because those officers are put in stressful situations that most people don't comprehend, you know what I mean? Or they don't even think about. But those guys are facing life and death every single day, dude. Pulling over a car going 90 on the freeway at 3 a.m. with tinted windows on, you know what I mean? That's a scary situation. And that's the reason why
Yeah.
they're on edge. Most of the time there are bad officers, you know what I mean? But there are bad people in every single job position, but you just have to root them out.
Even
It's
even
part
in
of
our
the
justice
process.
system, you there's a lot of corruption that goes on in there too. So this can also be applied in there as well.
Yeah, dude. A lot of a lot of corruption, dude. A lot of corruption, dude. Yeah, man. So yeah, I believe that one right there. I could see that one going down, basically breaking down the integrity because a lot of people nowadays have less integrity. And the reason why I brought that up was, if you see a police officer, try and have some understanding and treat him as a person. You know what I mean?
This
But
this also counts towards religion too, because like in communism, they removed religion entirely in Soviet Russia and in China and in North Korea.
so they don't follow a religion at all. It's like
Nope.
they want them to view the government as their god.
That's
Oh my
exactly it.
gosh.
Like Xi Jinping, I read an article, I think it was like a year or two ago, where Xi Jinping pretty much outlawed like the worship of other gods and religions and said the only person you're allowed to pray to is me, is what Xi Jinping said. And he put pictures of himself in churches and mosques and like Buddhist temples and all that stuff.
the fuck, dude? That is nuts, dude.
That's what tyrants
Imagine
do.
going
Like
that far, dude. Yeah, you're right, dude. You're right.
Hitler did the same exact thing
Fidel
in the Catholic
Castro,
Church.
Kim Jong
All
Un.
them stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler too.
Yeah. The
Now
idea
Putin. Putin
is
literally
to
turned
make
into one of
them
those.
the idea is to get the people to believe that there's some sort of God. So that way they obey everything that their leaders slash government tells them to.
Yeah.
Like example two would be, the Japanese Empire. They viewed the emperor as a god. They were willing to kill themselves, sacrifice their lives for him, rather than to surrender to the Americans and
Yeah,
bring shame to the emperor.
kamikazes, dude. That is such. Oh my gosh, dude. Those are
Kim
some
Jong
believers,
Un,
man. Those are some believers.
Kim Jong Un instilled the same ideology inside of North Korea as well. They view him as a god.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up to you over there, dude.
Yeah,
It's,
so
they made fun of it in that movie. You ever seen The Interview? The movie The Interview?
yeah, I've
Oh
seen it.
my gosh, dude. They're making stuff up that a god would say, like he never shits, dude, and all this
I remember that.
BS, dude. Oh my gosh, man.
So, like, religion teaches you moral virtues and honesty and all this stuff that's listed in here. So they also get rid of that too, especially when it comes to Christianity, because in the Bible it says that God is above man. So man must obey God rather than what the government says. And governments hate that, especially tyrants. So they make it their aim to remove Christianity and other religions to show that he's the top dog in the food chain here, that everybody must obey everything that he says.
That's a crazy thought, man. That's a crazy thought. Yeah, that's why the United States man has to keep religion free and all that, but not forced ideologies, man. That's the route.
Yeah.
That's the route we have to go.
Well, it goes both ways, like the idea of the separation between church and state. And I say both ways because one, obviously you hear about it, you don't want to have the church have too much power in the state, in the government, right? Because you've seen what happens in the Middle Ages. The secondly is you don't
Yeah,
want the
man.
government controlling the church either, because then you can just use that to use religion to manipulate people into obeying everything that the government tells them to.
And it always revolves around money too, dude. No matter what side is in power, the church or the state. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like there needs a balance of power. You don't want the two to like intertwine between each other because one or the other will take advantage.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And then let's go ahead and move on to the last one, which was letter I, right?
Yeah. The cause the registration of all firearms on some pretext with the view to confiscating them and leaving the population helpless. This is like on the news all the time. There's so
Yeah,
many threats about getting rid of firearms, taking them from people.
it's the First Amendment, right? Or Second Amendment. Second Amendment.
Yeah, like Joe Biden wanted to place a gun tax on people. You're going to pay $200 for every firearm that you own. That's an example right there that
And
he tried to
again,
pass.
man, again, in California, dude, I'm feeling it the most. It's just California is like the starting point of all this craziness, dude. Oh my goodness, man. Well, when you think about it,
California is very totalitarian. You guys are turning into North Korea.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like you said, dude, the government has the power to close down personal businesses, and they're trying to force weapon rights and ban and so many different firearms, and the population agrees with everything they say without thinking for themselves for even a small moment, dude. It's like an easily herdable pack of sheep. You know what I mean? And I don't
No,
blame the
exactly.
population because this all happened one little step at a time, but this all could have been stopped or
The
minimalized
California
a
government
while ago.
is not functioning off the interests of the people. Their flag may say the California Republic, but it is far from actually being a republic.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I agree. I agree.
The,
It's turning pretty wild up here. I think what we need is a new governor to basically turn it into the right direction.
I'm gonna tell
This
you
this
something
guy,
interesting
go ahead.
that happened overseas in a very sandy area that I'm not gonna name. During a special deployment, I will say,
Uh-huh.
we worked alongside, foreign militaries. and there was a guy who was pretty high ranking. I will not state his rank. He
Okay.
was from the Danish military, and we received care packages from from kids from elementary schools, and they would draw us like little cards, thank you cards, thank you for your service, all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
you know, and they would draw pictures of soldiers carrying guns, American flag, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this Danish officer came, he took a look at all these drawings, and then he laughed and then chuckled and said that, like, you Americans are exactly like North Korea, yet you guys don't even realize it. He's like, you guys are so brainwashed. Like, at a very young age, you guys are already being militarized and don't even realize it.
And why does he say that? How are they military? Well, you know what? I believe what he's saying, that does sound like USA. Militarize them, give them a schedule, right, to follow. Is that where
Well,
he's going
I
by?
think what he's saying is that, like, we react or obey every word that the government tries to tell us. We're being conditioned to have this mindset like the North Koreans, as he said. The government tells you if you don't get a shot, your vaccine, you're a terrorist. You know, um,
Well,
so like,
yeah, that's just how the military operates, though, man. Over here, that's a strict
yeah.
military.
But this wasn't the military. These were little kids that were sending us little drawings. Thank you for your service, kind of stuff, like
Oh,
idolizing the
so he was
military.
he was referencing the kids, how so the classrooms were making those kids send those cards. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like, he was saying that at a young age, we were already being brainwashed like the North Koreans to
Okay,
basically
I understand what you're saying
idolize the
now. Yeah.
government, the federal government, the military, all this stuff. We romanticize war.
Yeah, I've never done any of that, but I do understand what you just said right now about romanticizing war. But
So, like, this is a guy that does not live in America. This is a guy in Europe,
it's just what he sees.
and
Yeah, his
he
opinions are
has
just off
he
of what
has
he
a
sees.
degree. He's educated, you know. So automatically he thinks that we're all brainwashed.
It's a crazy thought. What do you think? It's right to an extent, right? They are
I thought it
pushing
was an
certain
interesting point of view.
agendas.
Yeah, it's like we don't have a freedom of thought. We're just being told what to think, what to believe, what to listen to.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. I see that. That's an interesting opinion, dude, because like I said, his opinion is entirely based off what he experienced, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, dude, crazy. And he is kind of right, dude. They are forcing certain agendas, militarizing kids. I personally never had done that when I was a kid, writing letters to the military, but I could see that happening in other states, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we got a ton of them. Ton of them for like 9 months from kids like that. They were just sending us
You're like,
all
fuck
kinds of
off. I already
drawings
got
and letters.
fuck off, Sarah. I already got a
there,
fucking
there, there was this one card in particular that was kind of funny because it was dark.
Oh
He
my
just said,
gosh.
"Try not to die," and he showed like a picture of like a soldier dying.
Oh my god. Are you serious? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm like, oh, okay, gee, thank you. And it was the one I opened.
Ah, that's a little fucking terrifying, dude. How did that end
And
up
then
in the
another one
file,
was like,
dude?
I don't know your name. Can I call you Jim? I'll just call you Jim.
Fucking kids are creative, dude.
Yeah. So, anyways, at the bottom of this document here, it says how many of these rules are being carried out in this nation today. I don't see how any thinking person can truthfully say that communists are not involved in the chaos that is widening the generation gap and upsetting our nation. So he was talking about the generation gap, the whole hippie counterculture movement that was going on, because what's going on today is reflecting everything that's been going on in the 60s,
Yeah, I see that.
like Black Lives Matter, and you compare that to the civil rights movement, right?
Hmm.
Um, the hippie movement was also an age of like sexual revolution, which is how the LGBT community, in a way, is a modern form of a sexual revolution. So it mirrors that, it reflects it. And the feminist movement of the 60s that allowed women to enter into the workplace versus the third feminist wave that goes on today. And then you got the Vietnam War, which we lost. We were forced to pull out of there because the public viewed it unpopular. You know, they were against it. Look today what happened. The Iraq and Afghanistan war. You know, we were forced to pull out of Afghanistan and we lost that war. You know, we had to forfeit it. And think about all those lives that were lost in that war that were wasted for another war that
Yeah, that subject alone, dude, gets me triggered, dude. And I'm sure it gets you even more mad because you're part of the military service,
so
and the way that operation was handled, and all those people that were left behind in Afghanistan, all those people that were working with the United
there
States that were left to
there
the
was a
Taliban to
sign
get executed. Terrible, dude. Terrible. Terrible.
there was a sign I once seeing saying Iraq is Arabic for Vietnam. I even had a Vietnam vet approach me a while back, kind of comparing that, like, that it's the same thing all over again. He's like, he came up to me and he asked me about the Middle East. And he was like, let me guess, another unjust war? He's like, I figured, haha. And then he's like, did you get drafted too? Obviously the draft doesn't exist
Yeah,
anymore, but like he's got the same, he views the war in the Middle East and compares it to the same exact thing what he went through during Vietnam is what he was basically trying to hint at.
and
Um,
Iraq, dude, that was about Hussam Hussein, right?
Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein. There we go. Saddam
Okay,
Hussein.
so yeah, and that's a
Saddam
whole nother
Hussein.
story in itself because that happened in 2003, where in 2001 we entered into Afghanistan because of Osama bin Laden after the
Yeah,
9/11 incident
2001,
that happened.
9/11. Yeah.
2 years later, we entered into Iraq because we thought that Saddam Hussein was carrying weapons of mass destruction. When the American forces came, you know, we
They found
wiped out
nothing.
his entire regime in a month and found nothing. And the issue was that we didn't have another government to install in its place, which created instability in the whole Middle East. Because now you have all these other Middle Eastern countries fighting over Iraq, you know, Syria, the Iranians, Saudi Arabia, everybody wants
Syria
their
is
hands on
fucking
that oil in Iraq.
crazy, dude. There's like no laws up there, dude. You know, the slave trade is still legal over there in Syria, dude.
Yeah.
Wild.
So, anyways, it's a
On fucking
whole nother
YouTube, dude. You can
subject.
see the footage on YouTube. It's wild,
Yeah.
bro. Wild.
So what I'm getting at here is that like today, 2020s reflects everything that happened in the 1960s. And this paper right here also further proves that because everything that was happening in this paper happened in the 60s. These were shot signs of communist revolution taking place. Exact same things that are happening today as well. And I like to take a look at this paper every few years just to see how much closer we've gotten to that point.
Yeah, dude. You know
Now
what? Those 9 rules,
everything is
spot on. Yeah.
check mark. Everything is check mark. When I first saw this, I only saw like two things check mark. Now everything, every bullet point,
And
check mark.
just in the past maybe like 4 or 5 years, right? All those check marks happened.
I want to say I came across this paper around 10 to 12 years ago. You know, now it's like it's insane to look at this today because I was looking at it last night and I was like, oh snap, this is it, man. Like everything here, it's happening now. It's happening today. This is a big like warning sign to just wake up and see what's going on.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get different firearms right now. I've been buying firearms and legally, you know, for disclosure.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've been
of
trying to get
course.
ready just for any situation that may come, you know. It's better to be prepared than unprepared. And I advise anybody else that's been thinking about it to be prepared than unprepared. Do everything, you know, do the process
Yeah,
that has to be done legally, and you know, arm yourselves. It's
the,
a
these
Second Amendment, and I agree with it 100%.
these guys, these insider threats, they are real. They're basically the real life Hydra. You know, they're there to tear down our civilization, our government, our way of life, to instill something that we don't agree with, a totalitarian type of government.
Uh
You
huh.
know, so like honestly, all those groups that are part of this, I'm just going to start calling them Hydra because that's what they are. They're not Nazis, but they're still fascists.
Yeah,
And they're still
fascist,
trying to
dude.
instill a fascist
Fascist.
regime.
I hear that all the time over here in California, dude.
And these guys are, lurking behind the shadows, pulling strings, making all this stuff happen here in the US.
And I want to move out of here, dude. You know what I mean? And it's just hard, dude, because all my family's over here, and it's like, man, I don't know if I could leave that behind, you know?
I tell people all the time that as long as if you live in California, you will never make it. California belongs to the stars, Hollywood rich people. Like there's so much amenities that they offer, but you're also sacrificing, your
Your
freedoms for that
livelihood,
security.
yeah. Freedom too, 100%, dude, 100%. It's amazing how far they go on the weapon laws over here, and instead of focusing in other situations, because it seems to
When,
me that
yeah,
where I'm going out with this is a large portion of active shooters that are going on have been on active psych meds, and that's a proven statistic that a very large amount of them have been on psych meds, which is like maybe the attention should be focused elsewhere rather than decreasing the freedom for everybody as a whole or
he,
the society
here's
as a
another
whole.
statistic. Here's another statistic about that all this gun violence stuff that's been going on has been happening in states that have the highest levels of gun control.
That's what
So what
you
does
know
that
what?
tell you?
I could see that. I've never seen that statistic. Let's look that up. So you're saying most gun violence happens in the most in gun controlled states, right?
Yep.
Occur
And this was
in
statistic I was hearing back in like 2020. So I'm curious to see how much more that is today. Yeah. 2023, that seems like the most recent statistic now.
this one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a
So
look at
even
this
the
one.
states with some gun
Some
laws can't keep gun violence away from its borders. California has some of the most stringent gun laws in the country, many of which were enacted in response to several violent mass shootings in recent years. But that hasn't stopped a wave of mass shootings from plaguing the state in the first few weeks of 2023.
Yeah, and I think
Think
the
about
reason
that.
for that is, like I said, man, the attention isn't being focused in the right places that it should be.
I think when a criminal wants to commit a crime, it
Uh
doesn't
huh.
matter what law you put in place. They're going to go out of their way and commit that crime anyways.
Exactly. So the best thing to do would be to prevent them, right, from
So
even
here's an
getting into
example.
that position.
You don't want your house to be broken into by a criminal, right? So what do? You change the locks on your doors. You put a deadbolt lock in there. You'll bar up your windows. But
Uh
if
huh.
somebody really wants to break in your house, they'll find a way to do it. There's really no stopping them, no law. Nothing that you can do to protect your house will stop them. At the end of the day, the only thing that can stop a criminal from breaking in your house is you
Being armed.
and yep, and your sidearm.
Yeah, wild, dude. Wild.
This is Sadie.
Yeah,
She's
that's
on
why I
Verizon,
keep
and
my
she's got the new My
well,
Plan,
I don't
so
want to
she
give
gets
out too much
exactly what she
information on the
wants, only pays
podcast,
for what
but
she
let's
needs.
just say
She
I'm
picks her
prepared.
perks and saves on
I
every
stay
one.
prepared.
Make
Try
your
to stay
move to My
prepared for
Plan.
any possible
Act now and get it
situation.
for
Another
$25.
example. I know a guy that was locked up for X amount of years who got
Uh-huh.
out, you know, charged
Yeah.
and charged as a criminal and everything, not allowed to own a firearm. And you know what he said? He doesn't care about the law. Like if he wants a firearm, he knows exactly where to go pick one up. It's that easy.
Yeah, he knows the guy that knows the guy. No, I see what you're saying.
Exactly. So, and that was coming from like an ex-criminal. Think about that.
Yeah, so if they want to do it, they'll find a way to do it. And yeah, there's a lot of crazy things that could be said about that, but you know what I mean. Yeah, man. Yeah, they shouldn't be taking away gun laws. They should be focusing on the other reasons that are causing all these people to, you know what I mean, go through all these
Yeah.
different gun violence situations. Like I said, a lot of them are on active psych meds, which means that, well, I don't even want to get into the pharmaceutical controversy right now, but you know a lot about that, right?
That's a whole another subject, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms. That's for the next podcast
Yeah.
for sure, dude, for sure. But yeah, man, they're taking away too many gun rates, and they need to focus the money and the attention on something else that could be helping that situation more. Like I said,
So
man, taking
yeah.
away freedoms little by little. They do it step by step.
So
They don't do it at once.
after showing you that whole document, what are your overall thoughts now? I'm sure everybody would like to hear.
Yeah, my overall thoughts was I think every single one of these, all nine of these points, they got the check mark. I think they're all happening right now, and that's crazy that this was. Let me just give a refresher: is that this was a communist rule book, and this list was basically made to give awareness on the possible corruptions that the communist government or communist ideals could basically have, and this is how they're targeting places to convert them. And that's how it starts. All 9 points that we've been reading off, that they all have the check on the list. So I agree with it. I agree with it. I could see all of these things happening right now, purposefully.
So you as a person, living off on your own and stuff, living in a state where you feel completely surrounded by radicals, like how does
Mhm.
this make you feel, and what do you think people can like you can do to kind of protect themselves and prepare for whatever craziness is to come in the future?
Well, to be honest, I think right now most of the attention should be focused on the kids. Well, it has affected me, dude. You know what I mean? I try not to, like I say, I think it's one of the best reasons to live in the United States is to have the freedom to do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But when they start forcing ideologies, and the reason why I was bringing up the kids right now is that's one of the ways that they're forcing it. So I'm thinking that the attention should be brought onto the parents more, and just give an awareness that, you know what I mean? Don't give any judgment to these beliefs. Everybody has the right to do what they want, but to basically try and stop forced ideologies in school and education environments, because that's where I think it's starting to
Kind of reminds you of the Hitler
turn the
Youth.
wrong way. Yeah, so you know what I mean? I think they should basically keep religion and personal ideologies away from the education, not just the LGBTQ community, but religion as a whole, because that should be taught in your home
Yeah.
with your family or your community, your family or your community, or both, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, that's my what do you call it, take on all this. I think that they're targeting the younger audience right now, and it's not really the older audience that
you
what do you
know
call it, worries about this too much.
when I remember being in the 11th grade, I think it was, in California, and I remember one of the teachers would preach Islam to everybody in the class almost on a
Wow,
daily basis. Yeah.
that is nuts, dude. You see, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Because children are very moldable, and like I said, grooming is a real thing. Grooming, it happens on many different subjects, not just, you know what I mean, and all these ideologies, like, you know what I mean, spreading LGBTQ awareness and all this, but grooming happens on any level, on any subject. It's a real it's a real thing. A lot of people just think, oh, grooming, oh no, no, that doesn't, yeah, that doesn't exist in right now, with everything going on. But no, I think more people should be aware of that. I think they're targeting the younger audience because they're easily moldable, you know?
Yep, pretty much. It's like they're forming a private military or something. Future
Yeah.
supporters, future voters, future revolutionaries.
Yeah, it just seems like they want more power. And right now they're just I don't even know how to explain it, dude. It's just very weird, the divide that's going on right now. It's very weird. A lot of people are straight up looking over their moral values to defend weird subjects that I think shouldn't be focused on right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's my opinion. That's my take right now. That's an exhausting list right there. But you know what? Oh, I'm glad we went
It's
over
a
the whole
heavy one.
thing. Yeah, very heavy, dude. Very heavy. It's crazy because every single subject we had so many examples to just throw on top of it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I experienced basically every single one of these points today, which is very wild, very wild. And man, you've heard of the new French Revolution that's been going on, right?
Ever since Emmanuel Macron went into office, I'm talking about the yellow jacket one,
Okay, dude. Let's
because
see if
that's when
I
the civil strife first began.
let's see all time past week. So this happened 3 days ago. They're talking about this. This just happened 18 hours ago. They're dispatching 40,000 police officers in France to fight against the riot protesters. The riots have been getting crazy, dude. I saw a video of a freaking police truck just like shooting, going wild, dude. Just freaking, let's see if I can find it, dude. Holy crap, dude. This is insane. Burning down buildings, exploding cars, dude. Those are bombs, dude. They're setting off
So I will tell you
bombs.
this, that these riots have been going on since Emmanuel Macron first
Oh
took
my
office,
gosh.
but it's progressed more and more as the years gone by. Now I see that they become more violent.
It's been getting nuts, dude. I hear about these
It's
riots
gonna
so
turn
often.
into a civil war is what that's gonna become.
Look at this. The
In
title
order to
for this video
classify as a civil
says,
war, there needs to
uh,
be 1,000 deaths per year.
oh my gosh. It's crazy how it all turns to statistics at that point.
I believe that this is probably where America's headed, to be honest.
Yeah, it says right here, this video that's going on. Is it Syria, Iraq? Nope, it's France. And it shows a video of this ginormous police car driving through multiple explosions and driving over flaming debris. It's nuts, man. Pushing burned vehicles off to the side. It's crazy. Yeah, so they're going through some heavy stuff over there. And do you know why they're rioting, dude?
What's the reason?
I'm curious, dude. I don't really know.
I did know why, I just don't remember why. I know
Let's
that they
see.
didn't agree with their president.
So this guy has an answer right here. Answer: the information is in the article linked. Violence has flared in Marseille, Lyon. I can't really pronounce these names, but they're parts of Paris, and including the working class suburbs of Nanterre, where 17-year-old Nahel M, who was an Algerian and Moroccan descent, was shot dead on Tuesday. His death, caught on video at a traffic stop, has ignited long-standing resentment among poor, racially mixed urban communities over incidents of police violence and allegations of systematic racism within law enforcement. That is nuts, dude. It's basically what we're going through a while ago, right? With the whole police hate or the
I do know this, that a lot of Europeans are fed up with the amount of immigrations that's been going on from the Arabic countries. So there's a lot of Arab refugees living in Europe now, and they're
uh,
very uncomfortable with that.
yeah, dude. That's nuts, dude. All of that over that reminds me of that one Floyd character, dude, or not character, the Floyd individual. What was his name, dude?
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Yep, this is almost just like that, dude. Where all those riots happened all across the United States, dude. It's nuts, man. It was nuts.
It wasn't just the US, it's been happening all over the world for a
Yeah,
few
man.
years now.
The police hate. Everybody's pushing back
You
on
know, all over
authority.
Europe, pretty much all of Western civilization is going through some sort of civil strife right now, and it's been going on since 2020.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, and so somebody got shot basically. Somebody of Moroccan and Algerian descent was shot dead on Tuesday by law enforcement, and everybody's accusing them of systematic racism and
There's a
basically
similar
revolting.
situation going on in Iran. Well, it was last year, I believe, where it was like a 16-year-old girl. Same incident. Basically, she was killed by her local law enforcement after they took her in for questioning,
16 years
and she was
old.
trying to travel
Damn.
somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
That's too young though, dude. What could a 16-year-old
So
girl do that would pose a
so
physical threat, you know? Like a need to
since
shoot.
then, there's been mass protests with um basically there's a huge feminist movement that's going on in Iran right now, and the Iranian government, what they've been doing is locking a lot of those people up and threatening to put them to death now.
Oh my gosh, dude, they're locking them up.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So it's similar situation in Iran.
Yeah, I believe it, dude.
Over
I believe it.
another death. Yeah.
It's happening all across the world, dude. It's not just the United States, you know?
Nope.
That's what it's starting to
Germany
seem
had
like.
it too. Yep, all over Europe. Everybody's got like their own civil strife going on, but they all are very similar to what happened to the US.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. I see it happening right now.
I mean, the way I see it, Hydra's definitely behind it.
That's your term for it, right? The left side, that's your term for the left side? That whole
Yeah,
movement?
it's my umbrella term.
For
Umbrella term
the
for
not
everybody
the
that
left side
are
as a whole, but for the radical left. You know what I'm talking about, man.
yeah, yeah. The umbrella term for all these organizations that are working together to tear apart the Western civilization.
Woo. Sorry, I made
You know,
myself a little bit of Jack and Coke right
you
now.
you can throw in the Skull and Bones community, you can throw in the Illuminati, you can throw in Antifa in there, the alt right, you can throw all those people in there. It's my umbrella term for them.
Yeah, okay, okay. So you
They're all
call him
systematically working together behind the scenes to tear
Hydra.
civilization
It's a good
down.
way to remember it. Yeah, man. So France has been getting crazy too, man. France has been getting crazy too. And it's crazy how major events get changed like that, right? One small action, just freaking big snowball effect, chain reaction,
It's
boom, the
not
whole
necessarily small
freaking
action.
country is revolting.
The way I see it is it's years of like stuff going on, and it gets to the tipping point where just one little thing, like the little small cherry on top, the whole thing just comes crumbling down. Like the
Yeah,
final
dude.
straw. That's what it is.
The tipping stone. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. I don't
That's
know
a
if we
crazy one right there.
you see this image, dude, of this
Yeah, I
cub
see that.
eating through a freaking buffalo, it looks like. Some sort of buffalo. Oh my gosh, it's a most likely a lion cub eating its way out of the inside of a water buffalo. Its head sticking out of a big freaking
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. Oh
He's
my
playing with
god.
his food.
Yeah, man, he's literally hanging out inside. What a freaking weirdo. Yeah, dude, freaking deer, dude. You know where my buddy lives, Roman, dude, out in West Virginia. I was reading a fact that West Virginia has like the most deaths of like deer involved. Oh, with like automobile accidents. That's what it was. Yeah, they hit the most deer out in West Virginia, dude, by cars.
Deer are actually the number one cause of death for humans,
Or is
or
it? Yeah,
considered the most dangerous animals. I mean, because they cause the most deaths for humans. You're
it's
more
in
likely to die from
automobile
a deer than
accidents,
a
right?
bear.
I
Yeah.
believe that, dude. I believe that. But bears, man, that's a scary way to go out, man. Fuck. Being mauled. Ah,
Somebody,
bro. Fuck this, dude. Oh man, dude. What's your perspective on great white sharks, man?
I don't really know anything about them other than that they're huge and that they like meat.
Yeah, bro, look how big that is, dude. You know, like imagine seeing something that's as big as you. Now imagine seeing something that's like 3 times as the length of you. You know what I mean? It's freaking 10 times as wide, dude. Weighs a ton. Lives in the ocean and just fucking eats meat. Oh my gosh,
I'm not
that's
gonna lie,
terrifying,
seeing
dude.
all that meat makes me kind of hungry.
You got the munchies now? I know, dude. It's
I
been
do. It's time for dinner.
almost 2 hours now, dude. Yeah, you're trying to call it, man. We'll end the broadcast here. Yeah,
Yeah,
we could
sure.
end the podcast here. Yeah, that was a good way to end it. I'm gonna go ahead and get the outro played, man. But yeah, man. All right, we're gonna call it here, guys. You guys have a good rest of your night. All right, guys.